when you talk about a piece of equipment like this, it goes through many iterations. And I spoke about this once again in an earlier question. When you take something from an idea, you then sort of draw it onto paper, and then you commit to sort of building the parts and putting them together. As you do that, you start identifying challenges and weaknesses and things that more or less need to be improved. And so it really doesn't matter when you're engineering whether a piece of mining equipment or a new refrigerator, it goes through iterations. And so we're probably at iteration 7 or 8, and we've now stabilized it. It runs well and it does exactly what it's supposed to do. And this is in a prototype form. What happens next is we move to a commercial prototype. And this one's actually going to go into production. It's going to go into the field and it's going to do its job. And while it's in the field, we're going to tweak it and change it and improve it. And there are things that we'll discover as the scale goes up. Something may warp, something may bend. Some very small millimeter or speck of change will have to take place because now we've extended something from 30 inches to 300 inches. So it's just an ongoing process. It sort of never really changes. And when you're in today's new world of manufacturing, this would have been an enormous challenge in the past. Well, today you just go to the drawing, you tweak it, you send it to the print, and it spits out the part. And so it's not, so when I think about this and I'm talking about this, as I would have sort of 30 years ago, I might have just explained a 2-year process. This could be a 5-day process today, where you sort of improve something and you move it on. And that's why the commercial prototype will be developed in sort of one of the leading engineering nations on the planet, because it is sophisticated. But what will just happen to it over time, it'll just become quicker, faster, easier, and more robust. And so there'll be a number of iterations from the first one, and that's why we go through a funding process. Find it, dream it, put it together, build the first one, spend more money, improve it, upgrade it until it functions and does what it does. Then you take in a second stage of financing where you now, make the commercial model. And ultimately, you get it to a point where, you just mass manufacture them. And of course, the cost of that, drops substantially. And all of a sudden, ultimately the profit margins start to leap enormously. And you can only imagine having a leasing program for this equipment. We're the only guys who can make this equipment. So all of a sudden your competitor has it. They're trapping 10 to 15% more material, dropping their cost by 20%. They're now 30 to 40% more effective than you are. You need to do something. And maybe you can't buy the gear, but you can lease the gear. And maybe you'll give us a percentage of your profits as well. So, this thing has the ability to become quite cash flow positive in a very profitable and proactive way, in that our core calling, as I spoke about one of these other questions, is we're not just here to make money. We're here to sort of return some of that to the people, to the environment, and actually make a difference. So, this is the kind of company that can make more money than you could possibly imagine. Well, then, what good can you actually do with that at the same time?